Alright. Hey, what is it, be sexy beast? GhostSickness Tristan here. And I'm doing my first story time stream, where I'm going to be basically catching guys up on everything that's been going on, everything that happened with my girlfriend and I, because it's a combination of a lot of stories. It's a combination of quite a few things, actually. And I was originally thinking of doing like a whole bunch of videos talking about it, but after reviewing that and what happened last time, I'm actually just going to do this one story. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I have gameplay and everything. Just let me make sure this is working. I'm streaming live on Twitch, but you guys are obviously going to be watching on YouTube later. So to both of you guys, I say hello. And I don't mean to sound sad. I don't mean to sound depressed, but that's basically what I'm going to be talking about. It's not something that's really that great. I know you guys were really excited for me yet again to have a girlfriend in my life or whatever. But, you know, reality doesn't always work out as you want it to. And so that's what I kind of learned, is the harsh reality of certain things, something I've never experienced before. And obviously it was a learning experience, but it still sucks nonetheless. It's not something that I wanted to experience. It's not something that I would do again. You know, I kind of had a fear, but I didn't really know what I was getting into, right? Obviously, you never really know what you're getting into, right? But you guys know me. I like to go on adventures and try new things and do stuff like that, because, you know, that's all life is. It's a bunch of new stuff. It's a bunch of you know, trial and error. Basically, you make mistakes, you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes life bites you in the ass. And so I don't want to sound sad, but it's not something that I'm happy about. So you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck? So I'm gonna be going through the whole girlfriend story, keep you guys updated and tell you everything. I'm just gonna tell you everything in this one stream. And if you're watching on YouTube, you won't really understand that I'm doing this live, and it was just the easiest and I think most effective way I can do this. That'll, you know, hopefully pique your guys' interest as you listen, I guess. And so anyway, what am I talking about? I made a video a few weeks ago saying that I had a girlfriend, right? And I did that the last time when I was pretty short into the relationship, but when I made this video, we were over a month and things were going steady and it was going well. You guys can already see where I'm going with this. So I'm just going to be going through, you know, our dates and our fun times together, and then just kind of give you a little bit of update. I'm not going to spoil anything yet. I mean, if you guys can tell the tone of my voice, you already know where this is going to go. And so anyway, I know you guys were happy for me, and that's good. And I was happy. So where are we at? So I told you guys a story. We went to I thought it was is basically a choir concert. I thought it was a musical, but anyway, it was a choir concert. We went to that. It was like a Christmas thing, and it was our first date, and we held hands, and it was cute, and all was well, and everything was good. And I'm like, you know, I like this girl. So we started talking more and more after that date. I brought her home. We were hanging out. People saw us together, and they're like, oh, are they, you know, whatever. And we weren't anything at that point. This was, you know, late December, I think December 17th or something. So we do that. We hold hands and in the car and stuff, and I take her home, and I just started texting her more and more, and it was going great. I was like, wow, this girl and I really click. It's fantastic. I mean, we only have one class together, but hey, you know, we're in the same grade. She's older than me. It's all good. There's no legal issues. It's wonderful. We get along really well. She's cute. So we started talking more and more, and we really started talking a lot more and more. We started talking more and more after we did this government project for the only class we had together, and we don't have any classes together, but we have an open period, which we both share. So anyway, we shared that, And so we're like, oh my god, you know, we saw each other every day and it was cool, and we would talk and we would hang out, and that's really how we bonded, was that government class. And that, you know, we'd known each other for years and years. We've always gone to the same school and everything. But I guess we really never clicked like we did when we did the project, and we just hit it off. I don't know, like I could just get good positive vibes from her, and she obviously got the same from me. And I'm like, wow, I think this is I want to be with this girl, right? So I'm like, all right. So we keep talking more and more, and we do that date thing. It's fantastic, nothing too crazy. And we just start hanging out more and more. So the next night was Friday night. So we started with Thursday night when we went to that. It was actually a choir concert thing. And then Friday night we hung out the entire night. So we started hanging out. We went around, and so it all started with bowling, right? Bowling, it sounds so lame. She actually doesn't like bowling, but she was there with like her team, just to basically hang out and be active or whatever. And so it starts off with bowling, which she dislikes, but I quite enjoy bowling. I don't know about you guys. So, you know, people are playing bowling. We're not playing at all. We're just kind of sitting, holding hands, talking, and, you know, cuddling, and I'm teasing her and joking around. And so we're doing that, and it's awesome, right? It's good. I'm getting positive vibes. It's just fantastic. We're clicking really well. Her friend's there, and she's like, you know, catching on. She's getting the hints and everything. It was a good time. And so I'm like, okay, well, obviously I want more of this, right? Of course. So, you know, we're hanging out that night, and we're talking. I'm like, hey, you know, we should, what are your plans tonight? We should keep hanging out because this is great. And she's like, well, you know, we could go to one of my friends' houses after this. And so I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. You know, anything I can really do to spend time with you. And so she's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So we decide to go to her friend's house. And so I actually waited at a McDonald's for quite a while. Not the one I work at, but I waited at a McDonald's for quite a while for her and her friend to show up, because they had to drop some people off. And so from her team, from after bowling, we didn't play, but we just kind of cuddled and hung out, and it was cool. So we're like, all right, well, we want to see each other more. So we go to her friend's house. And so it's a little far away. It's a drive. I was following her friend. She doesn't drive, so her friend was driving. I was following her friend all the way there, and we ended up getting there. It's pretty far out. It's probably a 15-mile drive or something crazy like that, middle of the night. Like, it's pretty late. I think it had to be 10 or 11 at this time. You know, I had a little bit to eat at the McDonald's, and I was just chilling there. And once I saw them pull up, I got really excited. And so I'm like, okay. So I get in my car, and we follow them there. Get to the house, meet her friends that she really wanted me to meet. And she's pretty cool. And there were a bunch of people actually younger than all of us. They looked older. I thought they were older, but they were actually younger than all of us. So we're hanging out there, and you know, like I said, we're cuddling on the couch, and at this point we're not even dating. We're not anything official. We're just friends, and you know, we connect really well, and we're trying this dating thing out, obviously, before anything gets serious, before I decide to ask her out. And I did so in a really interesting way, which you guys will hear about here soon. Sorry for saying guys. So I'm staying there. We're hanging out, cuddling on the couch, joking with her. I'm tickling her, and she can't, you know, handle being tickled. And we're playing with, just hanging out, talking. And we begin to smoke a little hookah. I bring my hookah pen out because obviously I recently had my 18th birthday that month, and so I bought my own hookah pen, and it was pretty cool. So I brought out my hookah pen, and we were smoking real hookah and some hookah pen, which sadly my pen was dying, and I was learning about their lives, and you know, they go to different schools, and it's really interesting. So, you know, she didn't partake in any hookah or hookah pen, which you know, like, I totally would have liked to smoke weed with her. That would have been a lot of fun, but she didn't want to do hookah for some reason, so she didn't really like it. So we're hanging out, smoking hookah. She's not, and just holding hands, being cute, cuddling, the whole nine, and just getting along really well, bonding on an interesting level very early on. And, you know, like I said, I've known this girl for several years, but we just, for some reason, we never had this opportunity to click. We never had like a real class together where we sat. She actually sat right behind me, and we would just talk and stuff all the time and make jokes to each other, and it was just she's adorable. So we were hanging out at her house, and it was just I can't even explain to you guys. It was just so much fun, just spending the entire night with her, you know, bowling, and then that, and then it gets a little bit later, and I take her, and I was gonna take her home, and her friend actually ended up riding in a different car. She ended up leaving to go meet with some guy. Her friend, this is what I'm talking about, not her. She ends up leaving to go meet up with some guy, and so it's just her and I and some of her friends at the house, like I was saying. Then we end up leaving. I take her, and we get really close to her house and about the neighborhood of her house, and we park in front of a park. And it's funny to say, just waiting for her friend, just hanging out, not really doing anything except for talking. All we're doing in my car, I think my car was running for most of this. I don't think it was running for all of it. It was still pretty warm and pretty legit inside my car. And, you know, she's sitting in the passenger seat. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. Hope you guys can hear me okay. And we're just talking, not, you know, just learning about each other and asking questions, things we want to know. Because obviously the subject of dating and stuff like that was already on the table, right? It was already talked about. It was already an idea. And so, you know, we're just doing that, talking about that, and just asking her a bunch of funny questions and interesting things, and, you know, learning more about her. And she's adorable, and we're holding hands, and it's cute. I don't know, and it's one of those really basic things. You're like, wow, that sounds like a lame night, but for some reason, you know, her friend came and picked her up, and it was curfew. It was like 1:30 a.m. for her. I don't have curfew, but and now I don't have a legal curfew. Neither does she. We're both 18. So her friend picks her up, and she had to go because she had to be home at 1:30. And so at 1:30 a.m. You know, she gets in her friend's car and she goes, and I drove back home. I had work the next day. Obviously, it's Friday night. I had work Saturday, and so I felt fantastic. I felt amazing. I was like, I'm gonna cry here. Like, I felt great. I was like, wow, we just had an amazing night together and spent, you know, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours just doing practically nothing together, but just hanging out and learning about each other. And, you know, God, I don't know why I'm tearing up. This is just dumb. This is just dumb. So, learning about each other and just connecting, and we're like, wow. And every time we just get more and more compatible. So I'm like, okay, well, I have no idea why I'm tearing up right now. That's funny. You'll know why in a bit. So, you know, I left feeling great. I had amazing sleep, and I went to work with this big smile on my face. You know, it's not like I got laid or anything, but I don't even think we kissed that night. Like, so I go home and I go to work, and I have this big smile on my face, and I just could not wait to see her again, you know, just to talk to her. And, you know, I text her when I got home, and she got home, and she wasn't in trouble or anything, and it was cool. So we're texting. I end up going to sleep. I go to work, like I said, huge smile on my face, feeling great, feeling on top of the world, just because I know that this girl's legit. This girl's cool. We connect. She's cute. She's adorable. And we're going to bond on, you know, a greater level, right? So, you know, dating was definitely on the table at that point. We had talked about it, and we'd both kind of agreed to that we don't want to rush into anything, right? Like, why rush? Like, what we have is good. We're both 18. We're both seniors, you know. We had a class together at that point. That was before the semester ended. And so, you know, we're just like, hey, you know, let's not rush anything. Let's just have fun. And that's all it was at first. We just had fun. So what was that? I'm thinking, interestingly enough, I wasn't going to see her Monday because that was actually Christmas break. That was the first day of Christmas break. And wow, 90 people. Damn, this is crazy. Oh, God, your comments crack me up. So, you know, we're getting along really well, and I wasn't going to see her Monday, which sucks. It definitely did suck. I really wanted to see her. Monday, but I couldn't. And so I don't remember which day Christmas was, but I think it was Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. I honestly can't remember. But I was thinking like, okay, and we had talked about it. I was like, okay, well, what am I going to get her for Christmas, right? Like, I want to date this girl. I want to be with this girl. What could I possibly get her? So on Christmas Eve, obviously I procrastinate like a motherfucker. As you guys will tell in a second here. I went mad shopping, family shopping, spent several $100s just on gifts for my family and everything, little brother, and gifts that you normally wouldn't think of, and you know, stuff like that. And so I'm at the store and I'm thinking of stuff to get her. And so when we did the Gov project, I know this sounds like a side tangent, but it's really not. When we did the Gov project, she poured her favorite kind of tea, and she really likes tea, and she explained to me that this was her favorite kind of tea, and I kind of saw what it looked like and everything. She later ended up sending me a picture of it. So I go to the store where it's sold, and I get 5 cases of that tea because, you know, apparently she was running low. I didn't know that at the time, but I knew that this was her favorite tea. And so I end up getting some of that for her, as well as, you know, doing all my Christmas shopping like a lazy motherfucker on Christmas Eve. So do all the Christmas shopping. That's all good. And what I got her on top of that, I know this sounds really random, and you guys may not understand the significance. So flowers are cool and all, right? Flowers are great. But the problem with flowers, in my opinion, I'm sure you guys have heard this, because if you have any general knowledge of plants and flowers and whatnot, they die. They die really, really easily. Flowers only last, man, a week or two, and even if you take great care of them and you water them and everything, and you don't water them, you have them in a vase with water, you know, like pour water. I'm sorry. So even if you have them in water and everything, they die after about a week or two. And so I get her the cutest little tree that I saw, and it was just this little tiny tree in this pot, and it had like frosted tips. It looked like a mini Christmas tree with like white on it. Like it was like powder, but it wasn't powder. It was actually part of the tree. Like it just wouldn't rub off. Wink wink, that's what she said. So I get her that, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever, and I kind of keep it in my car and I keep it protected, and then I get home and nobody's home, so I take out all the gifts and put them all in my room and make sure nobody knows what their gifts are and everything, which is good, and nobody was there because I got a lot of gifts. My entire car was like full of stuff, and just for my parents, because I had been out on a mad shopping spree. I didn't have work that day, and so that was just fantastic. I was very productive. Did I have work that day? I don't think I had work that day. So I got a whole bunch done, and I had my gifts ready for her, and I wrapped her tea, all the 5 things in one little thing of wrapping paper. And I was like, wow, you know, I really hope she likes this. I hope she likes her tea, because, you know, I told her I was going to get her something for Christmas, and she's like, no, that, you know, I don't want to have to get you anything. It's not that I don't want to have to get you anything. She's like, I don't know what to get you. I'm really bad at gift giving. And so I'm like, it'll be fine. You know, you don't have to get me anything, but if you decide to, I'm sure whatever it is will be fine. So she totally understood that. And she actually did decide to get me something. And, you know, she totally didn't have to, by the way. I hope you guys know that. You know, you're not required anything at all. And so she decides to get me. I skipped 100 viewers. God damn, you guys. I love you. I just want you to know that. Anyway, so she decides to get me something, and she tells me, she's like, I think you're gonna like your gift, and I'm like, I know I will, because it's from you, and all this other cute stuff. There's a lot of cute stuff that happened between us that you'll obviously know about today in this story. So, you know, she tells me that I'll like her gift, and I tell her the same thing. And it comes to Christmas morning. I'm feeling great, and we're not wrapping presents till like later. Until I'm like, I saw an opening, and I'm like, all right, well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go give this girl, not my girlfriend at this point, still keep that in mind, her Christmas presents. I'm gonna go give this to her because I think she'll like it. I know I like it. It's cute. It's a little tree. It's a little tree and some tea. A tree and tea. So I go to her house, and what was really funny is I mentioned like the brake checking story. One of them was on Christmas Eve, where I was going just super slow, and I told that story, the get off my ass story, and that was on the way to her house. So I get to her house. I have the tree in the passenger seat. It's buckled up. I have the tea there, and I'm excited. I'm nervous. I have a huge smile on my face. I'm just excited to see her. I don't think I'd seen her since Saturday morning, when we stayed out all night together, and it was just awesome. So I get to her house. She lets me in. She poured some of that tea, and she asked me if I wanted any, and did I say yes? I might have. No, I don't think I accepted tea because I couldn't stay long. But and I think that was the first time I met her mom. So I met her mom. She was there in the morning, and so we talked, and I talked to her, and I was ready to give her her gifts. And obviously, I had the tree outside. I didn't bring the tree inside, and I brought the gift inside, but she didn't get to see the tree. So I give her the tea, and then I say, close your eyes, and I'll be right back. And she opens it, and she thanked me because she said she was running low, and she, obviously this is her favorite kind of tea, and so she liked it. And 5 is quite a bit, which is good, and so she's all stocked up. I get her the tea, and the tree was outside, so I asked her to close her eyes, and she stands in the door. She's closing her eyes, and I hand her the tree. She holds it, and I'm like, all right, open. So she opens her eyes, and she's like, oh, that's adorable. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cute. So we're talking, and her gift to me was something I actually really liked. And I don't know why I liked it so much. Maybe just that it was from her, and that she really didn't have to get me anything. What she ended up getting me was my 2 basic favorite things. Reese's Pieces and Mountain Dew throwback in like the bottles. And so it was in this very nice red box. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the background in my videos, but for the longest time I had that little nicely, like perfectly wrapped, adorable box with everything in it. Obviously I didn't have the Mountain Dew in there and the Reese's Pieces because I ended up eating them all. So I had that in there, and that was in the background of all my videos because it was just kind of a constant reminder of her and of that gift, and just everything from her I kept in that box, which is pretty cute. So I like that box a lot. It was a cool looking box, and it was a way to kind of keep track of all this stuff. And so I thought that was cute, and I liked it, and so I kept it. Obviously, I mean, to me, it wasn't just like an insignificant box, but it was just like, it was pretty cute. So, I keep the box, and, funny thing. So, sorry, keep the box, and she gives me that, and I talk to her, and I thank her, and I don't think I kissed her still. First time I kissed her, I think, was actually after I asked her out. And so what sucked, and she told me this, I think, on Friday, but she ended up telling me that she wasn't going to be there for New Year's because I wanted to have her at my house for New Year's, right? A New Year's party. We were going to hang out New Year's, and she was going to be my first New Year's kiss, right? And so I wanted that to be a thing, and especially with her because, it was good and it was special, and I was like, I liked having her around. I liked her presence, and just, we got along really well, and, she's adorable. So, I wanted her around for New Year's, but something came up with her family. Her grandpa wasn't doing so well, and so she had to go out of the state to keep him company and make sure everything's okay. Obviously visit him if anything's wrong, and it was, really good of her and her family. But obviously I was like, oh, fuck, bad timing. Because she was gonna be gone for a whole week, and I wanted her around for New Year's, because we would have had a lot of fun. But I totally respected that. I totally understood that, and so I basically said goodbye to her, and we gave each other an early Happy New Year, because we had enjoyed hanging out for that time, as well as Saturday morning Friday night. So I was like, okay, you know, I may not get to see her for New Year's, but I've got to see her quite a bit. And this was, you know, winter break, a 2-week thing, and she was gone for half of it, which really blows. I didn't get to see her a whole lot, but when I did see her, it was fantastic. And so it really made up for all the times I didn't get to see her. And so I was like, okay, well, we connect really well. I know I'm gonna ask this girl out. I knew it right away. And she knew it also. And what I told her was that I can't right now. I need to wait till you get back. And I basically told her that she's gonna love it, and she's going to you know, basically remember it. And I'll never forget how I asked this girl out, and it was absolutely adorable. It was the most cute way I've ever asked a girl out, and nor do I know how. I don't know how it came to me. I really don't. But I was just thinking one day, and some two things clicked, and I was like, wow, okay, so this girl is gonna love this. And you know, like, who wouldn't? I was thinking of the best possible way to ask her out. And you know, some of you guys may dislike this, but the friends, everybody on Facebook, and it's not really a good judge, because all that matters is what she thinks and what I think in this, you know, relationship, in this situation. So, but that's jumping ahead of myself. So she was gone for an entire week, that being New Year's, and you know, we were texting all the time, texting 24/7, and she knew that I missed her and I wanted her around. You know, she missed me too, and she wishes that she couldn't, which really sucked. But I just convinced myself that it's okay. I'll see her soon. It's all good. No need to fear. No need to worry. Right? You know, I'm only getting along this well with her, and that's all that matters. And so I don't know how it came to me, but I just kept thinking of ways to ask her out, and then I came to one where I was like, oh my god, Tristan, that is genius. That is the best thing I can possibly think of. And so when she finally comes back, I see her, you know, and we go to school and everything. She was back for school. I don't think we really hung out besides that, but we get back to school and we're hanging out, talking, and I'm trying to find the perfect date, right? She's busy all week, and so I'm like, fuck. Okay, well, when works for you? Because I had to do this in person. There's no way I'm doing it any other way, especially the way I had planned. And so Thursday, I knew we were going to hang out Friday, and so I end up getting all the supplies. Yes, I needed supplies to do this, to ask this girl out. So another funny thing I want to mention, if you guys follow my channel at all, you'll know that 2014, I got lit on hella bad, like hella bad. It was awful. There was this girl, she was really cute, but she was a bitch. Like, I'm not talking about the girlfriend, but this other girl who led me on for most of 2014, not most of 2014, but a significant amount of 2014, and kind of, you know, was my coworker and everything. The funniest thing was, before I asked this girl out, I'm going to name her Chloe. I'm going to call her Chloe. Her name is not Chloe, by the way, guys. Before I asked Chloe out, this girl who totally led me on, Tabby knows, this girl who led me on texted me. She texted me on Thursday, and I was like, the 8th of January, so I'm like, okay, why the fuck are you texting me, right? We haven't talked for like 7 months, and out of nowhere, the day before I asked this new girl out, already knowing her answer because we talked about it, and she, you know, was very interested, and I was very interested. We got along very, very well. The day before I asked her out, which I thought it was just the funniest thing, this bitch texts me. And so I basically responded to her in the worst possible way. I basically told her to fuck off. I didn't say exactly that. I'm just like, why the fuck are you talking to me? Leave me the hell alone. You know, what do you want? She's like, oh, I just want to be friends. I'm just like, bullshit. Like, what do you want? Like, how desperate are you? And so we barely talked at all. We probably exchanged like 8 texts, and I totally told her to fuck off because it was too funny. It's like, you don't lead me on. And she's like, why are you so pissed off? And I'm just like, you know exactly what you did wrong. And so she, you know, didn't know what she did wrong, and I obviously did. You know, to me, it was her leading me on, and she, you know, she wasn't upfront a bitch, but her actions and inactions were just awful, and they put me in a really bad position. So I just found that funny that she texted me the day before I asked this new girl out. A guaranteed yes. And I don't say that cocky. I just already know. That. So anyway, that was just a side tangent. I thought it was hilarious because, I mean, the irony is just really great. Like the first really real serious relationship, and she hasn't talked to me at all, and she chooses the day before I asked this new girl out. So I just thought that was funny. I'm like, bitch, you do not want to be friends. Like, you just don't. I don't know what you're texting me for, what you want from me, but stay away from me. Just like, I don't want to hear anything from you. Your family's crazy. You're crazy. I don't want anything to do with you. So luckily, I don't work with her mom anymore. Her mom actually ended up quitting, which is awesome. It's so fantastic. Sorry, that's a real side tangent, guys. Day before I asked this girl out, that happens on top of the fact that I needed to go get supplies. I needed to go get everything, and she's like, I ended up telling her this, and I was dropping some hints. I'm like, you know, tomorrow's important. You're gonna like tomorrow. Remember tomorrow, January 9th. And she's like, what? And I'm like, just tomorrow's important. Remember the date. And she thought I was like hinting at something, but I was only hinting at something that was to come, which was me asking her out. And she didn't really have any idea. I tried to have her guess and everything. And I told her I needed some supplies. She's like, supplies? What do you need supplies for? You know, and she just had no idea that I was going to ask her out the next day. Because I kept alluding to something, but I wouldn't tell her what it was. And I kept dropping hints, and we just, I was like, it had to be perfect. It just did. Because I'd known this girl for a while, and she's adorable. She meant a lot to me, and so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this the cutest way I have ever thought of. And I've never really, it sounds so cocky, but heard anything cuter, and I would love to hear something. But in my opinion, this was the best way I knew how. And so, as a helpless romantic, I ended up getting all the supplies. And you guys are wondering what the fuck the supplies are. The supplies were some construction paper. I didn't want to get construction paper. I wanted to get like letter paper. But I ended up settling for construction paper. A little treasure chest, a little chest. Tabby knows. And a little tiny chest, and I wanted to get a bigger chest. So my plan was rather simple. I kind of divvied from the plan. I kind of went away from the plan, but it was still a plan. It just wasn't the actual full-scale plan, what I had intended on doing, but it turned out really well, and I could not have thought of a better way for it to have turned out. So the plan was rather simple. It was to get a treasure chest, fill it with all of her favorite things, bury it, give her a treasure map, and I know she's not like a pirate or anything, but still, it's just, yeah, it has to work for it, right? And, you know, find it. She has no idea this whole time. Was to have her find the treasure chest and open it. And in that treasure chest, there's a letter on top of, you know, her favorite things. And so I got her, you know, she really likes gummy bears, so I got her gummy bears, like a premium chocolate bar, socks. She really likes socks, and her nickname is Socks. Also, so Tabby's dying over there. So I get all that stuff together, and I figure it all out. And like I said, I planned on having a big treasure chest and actually burying it, having her use a shovel and everything and find it, you know, make a map for her and kind of go with her, but guide her, but don't tell her where it is, and don't give her too many hints as to where to find it. But I ended up simplifying it quite a bit. The ground, it was really cold and frosty, and I wasn't going to be able to bury something that deep. I didn't want somebody else to dig it up or anything to happen, or us to lose where it is if it snows or something. So I decided to get her a smaller chest. Like I said, I put a candy bar in there. I wrote her a letter, you know, telling her how I feel, and it was a very cute letter. You know, it had her full name on there. It had everything I think about her, you know, that she's adorable and that I like her for these reasons, and I think we'll be well together. And so it had all that, and then it said, in the letter, it said, now look at me, and I will say, and then I had all these little dashes. I don't know if you guys have ever played Hangman. you guys have totally played Hangman, but had all these little dashes of words that she obviously wouldn't know right off the bat. I mean, she's not going to guess them. So she looks up at me, and I look her in the eyes. Oh shit, I'm jumping ahead of myself. But okay, so let's get to the day of. Sorry, so I get all the supplies. Oh man, I am all over the place, guys. I'm sorry. So I had her favorite things: socks, a letter wrapped, handwritten by myself, and it had those blanks, and a, you know, chocolate bar and gummy bears and socks in this little tiny cute treasure chest. So I get her all that stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, what do I do with it? So the night before, and I ended up creating this map by hand. I had like a street name, and I had kind of a route, a very basic route, and it's kind of all the way around those, like a circular route when it could have just been a straight route. But what fun would that be to have her figure it out? And I had like a little key and everything, and I actually hand burned this map to make it look, you know, crumpled it up and everything, make it look older and more authentic and legit. And it turned out pretty well in my opinion. I just made it with some like Sharpie, just by hand. Just everything was by hand, and so I do that, and I write her the letter in permanent marker as well, and so I couldn't really have room for error, and so I had to kind of, that took me quite a while to write, because I had to really think about it and really ponder that. So I write that all, I put it all in this little treasure chest, and you know, I have the map out. I put the map in my car. I put the treasure chest around, so I live in a cul-de-sac, right? I put it in the cul-de-sac up by some rocks and behind some other things. And so I'm like, okay, well, she's gonna have to find it. She's gonna have to work for it. And like I said, I'm her guide, but I'm not gonna tell her where it is. I'm not just gonna be, you know, fully straight up, but I am gonna help her with this. And so it comes to Friday, and we go to lunch. No, did we go to lunch? We went to lunch like the day before. I ended up hinting at it and everything. And so I'm just telling her, like, you know, because we were going to hang out right after school, and she actually had time to, and it was great. So we hang out right after school, and we drive my car, and I park it on this random street. And what's funny is when I first parked the car, it was like 2.5 feet off the curb. Like, it was so bad. And I ended up seeing some people we know. So, you know, she'd been waiting for me to ask her out, and I really wanted to earlier than that. But I wanted to do it my way. I didn't want to do it by text. I didn't want to do it over the phone. I didn't want to do it any other time than in person. This was the only time we really could. And so I got all the supplies. I handed her the map, and she was really confused. And I'm like, all right, we're going on a treasure hunt. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we're going on a treasure hunt. We're going to look for this treasure. I found this treasure map. And, you know, I was totally like faking it, going along with it because I alluded to certain things, and you know, I asked her, you know, if she liked adventures and stuff, and obviously she said yes. And so hand her the map, we get out, and I fix my parking because God, I was like 2.5 feet off the curves. It was horrible. Fix the parking, go around, hand her the map, we get out of the car, and she's like, okay, so what do I do here? And so I'm like, well, where are we gonna go? And so she's, you know, really second guessing herself. She doesn't know where to go, and so I'm kind of going with her, guiding her, and I'm saying like I plead the fifth pretty often, and just saying that I don't really know where we're going. I just found this map, and I was totally, you know, faking my whole way through, but she knew that, and I knew that as well. So I'm helping her. We start walking. We're holding hands, and what's funny is a few people actually spotted us as we were walking. Some people hollered out of their car, which I thought was hilarious. Because it's like, really? It's like, hi, because they saw us together, and they, you know, they knew who we both were, and they were kind of surprised because this was a very new thing. A lot of people at my school, you know, like I said, we weren't dating at this point, but we'd been together, and a lot of people knew and that I was going to ask her out, but the majority of people didn't know. The majority of people didn't know that I was going to ask her out and that we were going to date and everything. So we start walking, we're holding hands, we're talking, and that the holler thing happens, and we're just walking around. I'm, you know, guiding her through, and we're just walking all over the place, trying to find where to go. And so I know exactly where we're going, and it was really close to where I parked, but I did this on purpose so she would walk in a circle. We keep going around. Let me change this. We keep going around, walking, talking, holding hands, being cute. It's pretty cold, and so I'm trying to hold her hand the best way I can and trying to cover both of our hands because I wanted to stay warm. I wanted to keep her comfortable as we're going around. And so it was basically all left turns, which was pretty funny. All the way there was one right turn, but other than that it was all left turns. And so we end up getting really, really close. We get into my neighborhood, and she doesn't know exactly what, but she's like, wow, this is a really nice neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, I agree. You'll know why later, why that's cool or whatever. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. We end up walking up to the spot where she's looking for it. And so I kind of walk in front of her. I think I walked past it, and she ends up looking at me. And so she sees it, right? I wanted her to see it, this little tiny treasure chest. And it was like a tan color, really, really cute. I can show you guys some photos if you want me to, and I definitely will. Let me pull those up real quick. So she sees this little treasure chest, and she's like, oh, I found it. And so I'm like, yeah, it's yours. So I'm going to want you to go ahead and open it. It's for you. So she opens it, and she sees I think the socks were on top. Then there was the gummy bears. Then there was a chocolate bar. And then there was a letter. So she kind of, goes through all that and has me hold. What does she have me hold? I think she had me hold the chest while she takes a little ribbon off the letter and begins to read it. So she's reading that, and I'm watching her. I'm staring, and she knows something's gonna happen. And so she's reading the letter. She's blushing hella hard. I'm looking at her, and she looks up to me once I know she's finished the letter, because it tells her to look up at me. And I say the underlined, not spoken words at the bottom. And I look her directly in the eyes and say, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And so, she always says yes and gives me a huge hug, and I think I ended up kissing her. And so, she was just really excited, really happy that I asked her out the way that I did and everything. And so that was just really cool and really good, in my opinion. The best way I knew how. I didn't know of any other way to ask a girl out, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was cute, and so that's the way I decided to do it. This is it's funny because it says on the note it says, "To my baby girl," because that's like the name I'd give her. That's all the stuff's before, and this is the little chest, as you guys can see, with the note signed by me. And then there's the letter. Here's the letter, guys. You guys can see that. It's signed, has her name and my name on it. And there's heart on it. And it was just this is the map, guys. This is the authentic map that I made. Oh man, it's like burn marks and shit. It was so basic, so bad. But hey, it worked. It got the job done. She thought that was adorable, and she was basically, had a smile on her face the rest of the time we were hanging out. So we go inside my house a little bit. I kind of show her around my house or whatever. Then I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to do now? So what we ended up doing, which was pretty great, and I was very, very pleased at this, to be completely honest. We end up going to her house and watching The Princess Bride. I know you guys probably love that movie. She really loved it. It's basically her favorite movie. We end up watching The Princess Bride. Her mom's there too. We're just hanging out on the couch watching Princess Bride, and I'm cracking up, and I'm very distracted by her, right? Obviously I said I think she's really cute, and so I'm very distracted by her and everything. What's funny is at this point I had met her mom, but I had not met her dad. Her dad only gave me a hi when he walked by, and this time was really no better. He comes in later. We're pretty far through The Princess Bride. She's making jokes about The Princess Bride, and so is her mom. So we're watching The Princess Bride, having a great time, cuddling on the couch, just watching it on our computer. It was cool. Her dad comes in. He gives me a howdy this time. Woo! Instead of just like a hi and kind of like I still hadn't met her dad, and I didn't meet her dad for quite a while, like officially, like shake his hand and everything, which is funny. When I did, I ended up joking about it, and she knew that her dad hadn't really given me the time of day up until later. So at this point, we were already dating. I'm sure her parents already knew. I ended up posting on something on Facebook, just like she said yes. It was very vague and very pretty obvious what it was, and so I think she posted something on Facebook too. But I ended up posting like the pictures and everything on it later, with kind of the story behind that, how I asked her out, and it got like a bunch of likes, and people were dying. They were just like, wow, this is the most adorable thing. Tristan, you're setting the bar way too high, and it's just too damn cute overdose. And all the girls were like, aw. And so I was like, just really happy that I could give her that, because I obviously wanted to treat her right? She's really cool, special, and so I wanted to ask her out the best way I knew how. After I asked her out, we're cuddling on the couch, like I said, watching Princess Bride, talking. I barely met her mom. We finished The Princess Bride, and she's making all these jokes about it and saying that I'll understand them now, because I hadn't seen Princess Bride in 10 years. That continues for a little while, and so I'm like, okay, well, I think we'd better go. We better go get dinner. And so they ended up bringing pizza, but we already had dinner plans, and so I asked her where she wanted to go, and so we ended up going to this really legit restaurant. I don't know if it's a chain, so I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's basically an Italian restaurant, and it is a fantastic one. Really great food, really cheap food, fantastic service. They really made it special. So it's probably 7 o'clock. I don't really know how late it was, nor do I care. We hung out that entire day. So we end up going to dinner, and we're talking, hanging out. We get a table, and oh my god, some of the waitresses were so cute. And I know that sounds really bad to say. It's like, what, didn't you just ask this girl out? And we ended up talking about that at the dinner table as well, that it's totally reasonable to find other people still attractive. It doesn't mean that you're gonna go fuck those other people. But what's kind of funny is this foreshadows what ended up happening later, which sucks, but it foreshadowed this. And so I'm like, okay, well, I learned about her, and I'm like, okay, cool. She's cool with me thinking other women are attractive, because just because I have a girlfriend doesn't mean other women cease to be, attractive. Obviously, I'd be dating one, and so I'd be much happier with the one I'm with, but still, finding other women, physically attractive or whatever. Not that I'm just gonna go fuck another girl, because obviously that would require 2 women to be attracted to me at the same time. So we're talking at the dinner table, receiving fantastic service. I hadn't really seen her eat very much, and so she's like, no, I do, I swear. And so she like ate her meal, and it was pretty surprising. Not that she's like anorexic or anything, but it's just I guess just isn't hungry all the time. I don't really know. It was weird to me, but I end up like basically scarfing down my food, and it was phenomenal. It was great food, great service. We were right by the booth, just talking and sitting at a little table, receiving great service by these guys. And so it comes time for dessert, and so we're sitting there. Obviously, I have OCD with my like face, and so if I get stuff on my face, I have to like wipe it off with like a napkin or a paper towel, or sometimes even like liquid. Because I can't have food or any other particles on my face. I just can't do it. It's just one of those things I can't handle, man. It sucks. The first world problems. So we're at the dinner table receiving great service, and so we're talking quite a bit, learning a lot about each other, and kind of now that we're dating, and I can call her my girlfriend, and it was just adorable. We're sitting at the dinner table, getting along really well. Just learning a lot about each other, talking, asking interesting questions. Like we would say, tell me something about yourself, and so we would learn, because it's weird as well, or as long as we know each other, we hadn't really known each other. We hadn't known each other very well up until that point, and so this was really interesting for both people to really learn a lot about each other and what we expect in relationship boundaries and goals and just interesting stuff. And I know a lot of you guys are like, why are you talking about that? You're just in a relationship. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, when better of a time is there to talk about stuff like that? And there's no best time, but I'll tell you guys, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it to talk about that kind of stuff, especially pre-relationship. There are a lot of things we talked about. And we're at dinner. We end up getting dessert and sharing dessert. And I was like, it was delicious. It was great. And I was just very content with that restaurant. And because I'd never been there before, but she had. And so I was like, wow, this is a great first impression. Especially first day that she's my girlfriend. Like, this is just, today had been awesome. School's good. I didn't work that day, obviously, but school's great. We'd hung out all the time. Interesting. I'm talking about the game this time. I couldn't figure out why that happened. Oh, I do not like this song. This Eden Project? There's no way. I think this got mixed in here. It is. Wow. I don't like that song. Okay. So we're talking, getting along really, really well. And I can't believe I died. That was a fail. Lol. Getting along really well. Just having a blast. I'm going to change my character. My mouth hurts for some reason. All this damn talking. Okay, so. Okay, so guys, I'm sorry. I'll take a little break there. I don't know how long I've been streaming, but anyway, we're hanging out, getting along really well, learning a lot about each other, and this is when I end up taking her home. And what's funny is, I don't know when her curfew was. Was it like 10:30? It was pretty late, but it wasn't like that late. It might have been 11. So, end up taking her home after dinner. Dinner was phenomenal. The freaking food is great, service is great. That restaurant gets like a 2 thumbs up, especially the first day we were dating. Great results. So we get to her house because we didn't know what to do. We had a whole bunch of time and we hadn't seen each other in quite a while because she had been gone for that week, and I hadn't really seen her since Christmas. And we saw her at school, but haven't like really got time to spend with her in quite a while. And so I cherished it, and so we spent that entire day hanging out. We're hanging out, and what's funny is we were right in front of her house, but I didn't want to go. She didn't want to go. We're right in front of her house, and we're just in my car doing exactly what we did. I'm so confused. What is this? Oh, I see. Oh my god. That's so fucking cool. Sorry. Oh, Tabby, don't spoil it for him. Oh, man. Yeah, I didn't want to get there yet. But anyway, we're hanging out, having a good time in front of her house. And the funniest part about this was that we, was just what we talked about. So we end up talking a lot about sexual kind of things. Pretty much anything related to sex, anal sex, regular sex, why certain things. And when I'm saying this, I'm not like, okay, well, yeah, let's totally do all these things. But I had, we were just basically talking about them. This is such a mindfuck. This is so difficult to do. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like control of these. Oh my god, it's so weird. Oh my god. I can get them from however far away. That's so fucking cool. This is gonna be really beneficial if I get to Isaac. That'd be wonderful. because he doesn't move an inch, and so I can constantly hit him, and I can run around. This is phenomenal, guys. I gotta stay alive. I'm sorry, I'm distracted playing Binding of Isaac. So we're just talking about sexual compatibility stuff, about that kind of like, yeah, it sounds like something I would do, and like, no, it sounds like something I wouldn't do, or whatever. And what do you think about this? And it's funny because she ends up asking me what I think about spitting and swallowing. Obviously I'd prefer that they swallow, but I really don't care, and you can make it taste good and everything, and so it's whatever. How do I know that? Google. That's how I know that. Wink, wink. So that was pretty funny. We do that for probably a good while as we're sitting in front of her house, right in front of her house, just talking it out, just really not doing anything productive except for talking about relationships and sex and dating and whatnot. We talked about a lot of things, learned a lot about each other. It was very, very interesting, and I 10 out of 10 would do it again. So I don't know what this is. This rainbow hoop. Oh my god, if you're not watching the gameplay, which you totally don't have to. It's so true. It's true. This is too funny. Okay, so we're talking about that. It's great, interesting, and so it comes to like 10 or 11. I don't remember. Nor do I care. We'd hung out all day. It was great. I asked her out. We just had a very eventful day. So, right in front of her house, and I walk her to her door. I kiss her, and I text her when I get home, and I similarly to last time, I left with a huge smile on my face, and so that was great. We've been getting along very, very, very well. And it sucked when I went to Texas because obviously she didn't go with me, like, duh. But when I ended up going to Texas and I got in like my car crash or whatever, I don't know if you guys saw that story. I sure hope you have by now, then you have no clue what I'm talking about. She was really worried. I ended up telling her about that. She was worried that I could have died or whatever. But I'm glad I'm okay. But I definitely could have died, and that was ridiculous. And anyway, shouldn't have had to gone through that, especially first time in Texas. Like, that's pretty fucked. So anyway, she was really worried about that. We're talking, getting along really well. Now we're dating, so when we see each other at school, I don't think I saw her the rest of that weekend, which sucked. That's why I really wanted just to see her as much as possible that entire weekend. But I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to pick and choose my battles because I had work all weekend. So I see her on Monday, and now we're dating, and it was great. And you guys are like, what do you mean was great? So, bad news bears, guys. I don't know if you figured it out from the beginning. Well, Tabby obviously spoiled it in the chat, which is funny. But if you guys know me at all, and you could tell by the beginning, kind of the tone of my voice, where everything was going, her and I did end up breaking up. We dated for just about a month and a half, pretty much exactly a month and a half. When it came to the day, and then what's ironic is I announced it on video, and then we broke up shortly after, which is really sad. It really sucks, but it's really what it is. Like, I'm not too mad, I'm not too sad. We weren't compatible, and I know you guys are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Not compatible? Obviously you're compatible. It was a mutual thing, which, I'm not used to, but it just sucked. So I could really talk all day about why we broke up and how we broke up, but it's really not that important. No, she's not crazy. She's not insane. She's just different than other girls I've dated. So let me give you a few choice examples. So as you guys know, I am this is where it gets into like confession and funny part of story time that you guys always love to enjoy, the real embarrassing shit. which I find hilarious. So I am a horny motherfucker. Like, I have a very active sex drive. I want that kind of connection. I want that kind of reality, obviously, for several reasons. It just sounds fun. It sounds up my alley, wink wink. It'd actually be up her alley. So, you know, that sounds great and everything. And so that's something I want, you know, sexual compatibility, regular compatibility, sexual attraction, both ways. And so what really sucked, is she was not sexually attracted to me. And I know this sounds weird, right? You guys, what do you mean? You guys got along so well. She's obviously emotionally attracted to you. You know, she's dating you. But any kind of physical and or sexual attraction was non-existent. And that sucks. I'm really not used to that. And so I don't really know how to explain it. So she is what she calls, and I'll call it something else. I will list it as something different. So let's say, I'll give some examples first. Okay, so what's funny is because like, get it. It's like, I wanted to, and I thought she wanted to, but no, she did not. Just completely uninterested in that at all. Just anything sexual at all. And it really had me both perplexed and kind of perturbed as to, you know, where I stand on that. And now, obviously, I want to make a point clear before I continue. And it's that the point is, I'm not entitled to sex. I'm not entitled to any sexual thing. If you're in a relationship, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean like, okay, she's got to fuck me now. It doesn't mean that at all. And so I trust me, I know that, and it's totally understandable that based on what I'm saying here, you guys could be like, oh my god, all you wanted is sex. What the hell? And so this girl was interesting, and I'm not gonna give too much away because that's just too personal, and it doesn't matter. But what does matter is that she didn't have a sexual drive. Not only did she not have a sexual drive, but she did not have a sexual attraction to me. So me, obviously, I'm the polar opposite of that. I want sexual connection. I want to be intimate. I have lust. I want to quote unquote progress in the relationship. Now, it's not that she didn't want to have sex. It's that just she lacked a sexual attraction to me at all. And so that really had me confused. I did not understand it at all because I'm not used to it. Let's say, for example, and I would do this pretty often, which, you know, perturbed me later because I don't understand it. I still don't. I didn't understand it, but I guess it's just how some people are, how some people work. And it's that okay, so let's say I put my hand on her thigh or something. Usually a pretty intimate approach. Usually that's like, okay, all right, you're stepping into territory where, you know, you want to get some, you know, you're touching basically almost there. To me, like, if a girl puts her hand on my thigh, like, that's hot. That's very, very hot. I obviously like that a lot. It's very forward. It's very just nice in general. It's like, oh shit, you know, this is good. This is great. So to me, and going into it just based on previous relationships and just, like, in movies, like if a girl puts her hand on your thigh, you know, she's most likely interested, like, unless she's just a slut and she's teasing you or something. So I would do that, but she would not react to that at all. And you guys are like, what do you mean she would not react to that at all? It's just, it was as if my hand were not there, not touching her, not on anything. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe she's just not as horny as I am. So I'm like thinking about that, and I hadn't really come to a conclusion. So, you know, maybe she's just doesn't have the same drive that I do, which is okay. I have a very, 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 very high drive, and not that, you know, I expect her to or do anything like that, but I would prefer that a girl that I was in a long-term relationship with, and long-term meaning like going forward. So let's say I decided to stay in the relationship. Sadly, I talked to my friend about this, and I kind of told him that kind of shortly after we started dating, as well as we connected emotionally, that we just weren't compatible in a relationship, which blows. I wanted to be compatible. I wanted it to work. I wanted everything to go how it was going at the beginning before it got too complicated. And not that I would take any of it back. I really wouldn't. I learned a lot, but it still gets me. It still sucks. It blows. And so what we decided to do after talking about that, because she had no sexual attraction, not only to me, but just really anything in general. Now, what she claims to be is what's called demisexual. Demisexual means that they have to be in basically a long-term relationship and or have a very strong emotional attraction to somebody to want to, or to be interested sexually at all. And so, if you guys are familiar with the term asexual, it basically means that. However, they're never sexually attracted. They're never horny. They never want anything like that. It's just not interesting. So I'm like, okay. So she claims to be demisexual, but in my case, in terms of us being together, all I experienced was her being asexual, right? Demisexual is basically asexual with a clause. Asexual with an exception, with a, okay, I have to be very emotionally attracted to this person to want to have sex with them. So I didn't know that going into it, and quote unquote, neither did she, but it still sucks. So she did not want to do anything sexual, and if she did want to do anything sexual, it would have been a compromise, right? It would have been a fine, you know, stuff like that. And I'm over there like, okay, well, if we do decide to pursue anything sexually, I want her to be interested. I want her to want to do these things. I want her to be, you know, not only give consent, but I want her to want to do these things and like enjoy them, enjoy the thought process as much as I do. And so I didn't really understand that. I didn't understand the lack. I didn't understand. I don't know how I can't hurt these guys. I really don't understand this either. Oh, that's how. Forgot. Yeah, they have to their fucking heads up. Okay, sorry. Let me kill these guys real quick. So, I didn't understand this total lack of sexual attraction at all. This uninterest in anything physical, you know, because emotional attraction is great. It gets you 70%. It's really like 70% of a relationship. And what's really funny, wow, I actually just made this connection, and the irony's fucking huge. Yo, I just made like the funniest connection ever. If you guys recall my relationship in November, where I made like 4 stories, you know, how I asked her out, I have a girlfriend, and then like why we broke up and how we broke up, those ones. What's funny, what's really kind of ironic, but not in the same way, is that I like this girl emotionally, right? We got along really well, but I wasn't attracted to her sexually, like at all. And so I get it. It is a compatibility issue. It really is. And I guess I was taking unconscious knowledge and kind of that. So I'm in this relationship with this girl, and we get along great on an emotional level, right? We can talk, we can reason with each other, we get along well. It's great. I thought everything was going great until this really kind of looming thing came over. And I'm like, wow, okay. well, this girl does not want what I want. She's not interested in the same things I'm interested in. And obviously, you know, like I said, we're emotionally compatible. That's all good. But we were not physically compatible. We were not sexually compatible. We were not any more compatible than emotionally. And so at that point, might as well just stay friends, right? That was my thought process. Because there's nothing I could have done to turn her on. I didn't reach that demisexual point in which that she was sexually attracted to me at all. And I don't know if I would have ever reached that point. But regardless, I want somebody who is, like I said, she doesn't have to fuck me, right? That's not a requirement. But I want a girl who wants the same things I want. And whether that's just basic stuff like lust, you know, towards each other, or whether that's complicated stuff like I'm demanding something more than is reasonable or more than is expected. I don't view it as too unjustified, in my opinion. Wanting sexual intimacy, wanting intimacy with somebody you're dating, wanting to pursue a sexual and physical relationship, you know, get more intimate and get, you know, bond on that level and connect and share first experiences together. She was a virgin as well, obviously. If that wasn't clear, then I don't know how more clear I could make it. But, you know, I want a girl like who shares my kind of same desires and understanding on a different level and is attracted to me both emotionally and physically. And physically implies sexual attraction. Like, obviously my face wasn't like horrible or whatever, and I was with her when my braces came off, and so that's interesting. And so it wasn't like, oh god, you're just ugly and so she didn't want to have sex with you. It was more than that. It was, she doesn't want to have sex with anybody unless she's, this is her claim, unless she's, you know, very emotionally attracted to that person. And so I totally get that. I don't really understand it, but I say I get that in terms of, okay, moving on. So we've been talking that weekend, and this weekend was just a few weeks ago. We ended up breaking up last Monday, and so so we ended up breaking up last Monday, but we had talked about it on that Friday and that weekend because, you know, I had the house alone. I'm like, hey, do you want to hang out or whatever? And not like, oh yeah, let's have sex. That sounds great. But I did want to hang out with her, and I did want to kind of bond with her and maybe have a little fun. I don't know. So she did not seem interested in that at all, and hanging out, you know, just me and her. She was busy, she had plans, and so I didn't really care whether she was legitimately busy or just didn't want to hang out. I was just kind of like, fuck, like, why? So I'm like, okay, well, we couldn't hang out, so I'm like, all right, whatever. And this had been looming on me, this kind of, oh shit, you know, Tristan, maybe you're not compatible. Maybe as much as you want to fit, she came up with this analogy. It's like, much as you want to fit a square into a circle, you can't. You can't force a square to fit into a circle. And so, you know, it's like those little playground sets, and you really can't force compatibility. You can't force something like that. And I understand that. Trust me, I know. And I didn't want it to have to be that way. So we're talking, and we had been talking just over text. And so I'm like, you know, we really need to talk about this. And so I told her, basically, I don't think we're compatible. And like I said, I didn't know at that point. But I basically said I didn't think we're compatible. And I was like, I don't know what to do. It's like, where does this leave us? And I'm like, look, we need to talk about this in person. I can't just we can't talk about this over Kick. We can't talk about this over text. It's something to talk about in person. And I couldn't see her all fucking weekend. So I'm sitting there looming with this decision over my head. Like, okay, well, look, I don't think we're compatible. We want different things. We don't share that kind of interest at all. And when I say at all, I mean at all. You know, I wanted progression. I wanted evolution, just in general. And she, you know, didn't. She didn't share any of that with me. And so I'm like, okay, well, what do we do? What do I do? Where does this leave us? And so we're talking about it. And what sucked is after that was mentioned, you know, we basically knew where each other stood. And, you know, she ended up mentioning that analogy to me. And so I'm like, why does it have to be this way? I'm trying to think of every possible way in my mind that, you know, it could work and we could both kind of compromise. It would all be good, right? But I just couldn't think of it because to me, I want intimacy. I want a girl to be attracted to me, both physically and emotionally. And so, you know, and that's kind of every relationship. I don't think that's, you know, too much to ask, but this was a very rare circumstance. And so that really was a learning experience, and it sucked. It did suck. So we go to lunch Monday. This was last Monday. And I knew it was going to happen. She had a very good understanding of what was going to happen. We're driving, trying to BS, and we hadn't really talked a whole lot that weekend. And when we did talk, it was very bland. It was very, you know, short. It wasn't like, oh, awesome, this is cute, this is great, haha, you know, we're all happy, we're all good. And, you know, we're still dating, but I was like, I knew the end was near, you know. I knew that it wasn't working out, and it killed me because I liked this girl a lot, and I didn't want it to end. I didn't want to, you know, fully accept that we're not compatible. I didn't want to. That's not something I wanted. I didn't want us to break up, but, you know, that was just the card. It was just the hand I was dealt. I was just kind of where I was left. And, you know, we had a lot of fun, but I couldn't think of a way that it would work. I couldn't think of a way that we could both make it work and that we'd both be really happy. And so I was perplexed. I was perturbed. I was bothered. Tabby, it's okay. So we're in the car driving to Taco Bell. Taco Bell, man, it's funny. Driving to Taco Bell. I'm like, we need to talk. And she knew. She's like, yeah, we do. I'm like, where are we? Where does this leave us? Like, she's like, do you think we're compatible? And I said, you know what? To be honest, as much as I hate to say this, I don't think we're compatible. And that killed a little part of me because of just so much fun and memories and stuff that we've had together. And, you know, I'm not even telling you guys the whole story. I'm leaving out a lot of just kind of fun times we had just hanging out, doing boyfriend-girlfriend stuff, and just, you know, cuddling on the couch and watching movies and watching shows and just, you know, hanging out when we could. And we really couldn't hang out that much because I had work and she had, you know, school stuff to do. So I didn't want it to be this way, and so we both knew that going into it. And so I was she asked, where does this leave us? Asking if we're compatible. And I said, you know what, to be honest, you can only compromise so much. And, you know, and she had made some compromises, and obviously this was going to be a very big compromise, something that I don't think I could compromise on, which is just lack of physical attraction to me at all. I think you know, and call it entitled, call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. If a girl's not attracted to me, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to take that relationship. I don't know. I don't know. We're just not compatible in my opinion. So I'm like, we're talking. I really don't think we're compatible. I'm like, I know, I don't think we're compatible either. You can't fit a square into a circle unless the square is small enough. But that's just a loophole. I like loopholes a lot. So, like, all right, well, you know, you can only compromise so much. Once you reach that point, it's no longer a compromise. It's changing, and I didn't want her to change, and I didn't want to change. That's not why relationships. It's not why you enter into relationships. So it's like, okay, well, where does this leave us? And it came to that again, and I'm like, I think we should break up. And she's like, I agree. I think we should also. And it was mutual, but it still sucked. It still sucked, and it still sucks. And that's why I tripped on my words. Like I said, I like this girl. I do. But the harsh reality is very, very simple. It's just, you know, if I want to summarize this whole video up, we're not compatible. That's it. That's the summary of this entire, I don't even know how long I've been streaming, but I've been streaming a while. That is really it. That's what it came down to. And so we're at Taco Bell. We'd already broken up, and we'd talked about it, and we came to an agreement. Sam. So you guys will see it on YouTube if you missed it. Don't freak out. It's okay if you missed the first half. So we're at Taco Bell. We're talking at Taco Bell about us, about this lack of compatibility, and kind of going into further stuff. And we talked about it, and like I said, I thought she was interested in this kind of stuff based on the first night when we were dating, and just our conversations in general. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I thought this was something that she wanted to do, and that would be interested in doing. But I later found out that she's not interested in doing this at all, and that didn't seem like it was changing at all anytime soon. So I'm like, okay, well, we broke up. It was mutual, and it still sucks. It still does. I'm sorry. It really does. And I hate that that is the reality, but it it is the reality. Which makes me rather sad. It really does kind of dwell on me. 'Cause like I said, I wanted to work. I wanted to be compatible. But you can't force relationships, and you can't force physical attraction. You can't force. You can only compromise so much, and so I didn't know what to do. There was nothing I could have done. There's nothing she could have done. It just came to that reality of, yeah, we're cute, but we're not compatible. So we broke up. That pretty much summarizes this. You know, and like, Valentine's Day was fun. We had a lot of fun. It was cute. But I don't want to cry. I really don't. But as it progressed, there were warning signs. There were things. And I was like, okay, well, I feared early on that we weren't compatible, and you know, for like the long term or whatever, and I wanted to give it a shot, and I kept giving it a chance. And what sucks about relationships is, yes, you can talk things out, and yes, you can make things work, but you can't force compatibility, on top of the fact that you can't yeah, I mean, that's really it. You can't force compatibility. And so if you're in a relationship, you know, month into it or something, and you're like, wow, I don't think we're compatible. We don't really agree on the same things at all. We don't want the same things at all. Then I knew there's going to be an end, but I didn't know when the end was, right? And I didn't want it to be that soon. I didn't want it to go that way. I didn't want it to go down that alley, have, you know, that be the path that it takes. But that's how life works, man. It really is. And so we dated for a month and a half, learned that we weren't compatible. It was cute and everything in between, but what can you do, you know? When it comes to relationships, you win some, you lose some, and it's all a trial. Relationships are all a trial, and we didn't know right away whether we'd be compatible. We ended up talking about it, and we both said, you know, let's go for it. But we both knew that relationships are a test. You don't know whether you're compatible really going in, and you know, we hung out. We did research. Not research, but you know what I mean. We dated before we actually, you know, before I asked her out, and we got along really well, and so I thought everything was just going on the up and up, and it was great. It was, when it was good, it was great, but when it was bad, it was terrible. And so I just learned that it doesn't always work as much as you want it to, and as great as you guys think you are together, it doesn't always work no matter how much you want it to. And so guys, I fucking love you. If you did listen to this, I just want to thank you for staying, and the 100+ people who've been here basically the whole time. That's fucking crazy. I really appreciate it, guys. It means a lot. I just wanted to update you, and this is the best way I knew how, and I really didn't have any other yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get back to normal uploads and everything, guys. I'm sorry for being absent. I have no valid excuse for why I haven't been, but all I know is I really haven't felt like it. And so, you know, this breakup, it sucks. It does, man. And usually breakups don't hit me this hard because most of the time they're very one-sided, either mine or hers. And so, you know, this I would have preferred to have been dumped. I really would have, but it still was a mutual thing, and it sucked. It did. It really did. But thanks so much for listening, guys. I fucking love you. More videos and stories coming. I'm sorry. I know this one was kind of a downer. You guys know I'm not kind of like a depressed guy. I'm not a down in the dumps kind of guy. But, you know, you have good days, you have bad days, you have good relationships, you have bad relationships. And like I said, when the relationship was good, it was great, and when it was bad, it was awful. And it was very, we just disagreed. And I'm totally repeating myself. There's not really much I can say. I love you. You guys will see it on YouTube if you're watching on Twitch. Stay sexy, and just thanks for the support. Thanks for being here for me. Thanks for listening. If you did make it to this, just say that. Just say a circle. Square can't fit in a circle. I don't know. Love you guys. I'm out. Bye.